defending a Big 12 title and some feeling that passing not required.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Thanks for making us your first listen. This episode brought to you by KALSHI, and for a limited time, download the KALSHI app and use our code Locked On to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you. And on this episode, we are in an offensive frame of mind. You and I have talked about this offseason, there being this additional layer of pressure whenever it comes to the Tech offense because of some recency bias and what you were unable to do, obviously, in your college football playoff appearance, and a historical standard that clearly remains very high when it comes to the Red Raider faithful. So I want to get to some things in that realm from Mac Leftwich. And part of the conversation leading up to this year, talking about simplifying things offensively and what that actually entails. Could it entail something like, hey, we're going to get so simple, we don't even have to throw it to win a football game? And I think when we're talking Texas Tech and we're talking Red Raider offense, we do have to talk style points and what it looks like for a resume, given the way that Tech's going to be judged throughout their Big 12 run this year. We'll get to all that in just a moment. Let's start with offensive coordinator Mac Leftwich and what it means to him to simplify his offense.
Trying to make things as black and white for our guys as possible, trying to eliminate some of the gray area maybe that we had in the offense, and just try to get these guys doing what they do well, and kind of being able to cut out any of the extra fluff of the offense. So just putting our guys in the best position to be successful and allow them to play fast is kind of what we've tried to accomplish this offseason. That's one of the things that as a staff we just talked about. A goal for fall camp is to really solidify kind of roles for some of those skill guys. Hey, what do these guys do best? What kind of package do we need to put in? What play? Or this guy gives us the best chance to go execute this play at a high level. And so really defining those roles for the receivers and the running backs as well kind of fit into that mold. When you've got a plethora of those guys, we've got to be good as coaches, keeping those guys involved in the game plan, and having specific roles for them each and every week.
When I hear simplify or make it more black and white and everything, I think people – we've tried to paint the picture, rather colorful one, not just black and white, but we've painted some red on it and some scarlet or whatever we want to call it. But you're personnel wise, boy, you are in a really good spot here, because short of questions at quarterback, you don't have any questions. Okay. Do you have enough depth at offensive tackle? I mean, it'd be nice to have a sure thing as a backup. Do you have a solidified wide receiver one? Okay, I mean, I'd listen to that. I could make some arguments for Kenny or Micah or Coy or somebody like that. But I would listen to that argument. There's just not a lot to offer up in relation to. Man, if this comes along, you're going to struggle, or this worries me, or whatever, right? It just doesn't exist outside of Will Hammond and his knee, and wondering what level you're going to get from him and how he can operate and all this stuff. It just doesn't exist. So I see a coach right there that is one. I think that Will Hammond said this the other day, was humbled from the Oregon game. And then two, realizes what he has, and you may not have to be in a position to trick anybody. Just play straight up. Okay. I mean, let's just win a whole bunch of one-on-one matchups and do a bunch of that, and we'll be good, right? I mean, I don't know if you have to out formation people, out personnel group people. How about you just block and hand it to the really fast guy, and just like, but sometimes coordinators on either side of the ball can get in their own way, or they try to make their presence known or felt. And then you've also got the internal thing of trying to get everybody involved and making them all feel like they're a part of everything, which you hear that's intentional and that's a real thing. You can't just like totally ignore certain players, or not in this day and age, or they're going to leave, or it's just not going to go well for you. So I think trying to find a role for some of these guys, but not trying to necessarily out gadget anybody or out scheme anybody. Just play straight up. Your people are better than everybody else's on your schedule, period. Okay. And so you don't have to get into the weeds on, and you'll dabble and like kind of, and build on it. But, Mac's in a fortunate situation, and I think he understands that.
I think in some ways, this era where you expect to have so many newcomers playing large roles year to year, it behoove everybody to get their simplification on when they can. And you could probably just say that every year of anyone's life. Keep it simple, stupid. But Chris, when you're trying to get so many guys to acclimate and they're in starting roles and they've only been in Lubbock for 6 months or whatever it might be, it's just a different kind of conversation than we used to have. So whether it's a wide receiver, an offensive lineman, a quarterback, a tight end, or whatever it may be that's getting thrown into the fire and expected to carry a big load, keeping it simple is probably always a pretty good idea and pretty sound advice. But you know how these OCs can be. Have I ever said that before? You know how these OCs can be.
I know, but people act like your offense last year was like the Carolina Panthers or something. It's like I've seen some, and again, I get we're all snobby about offense around here to a certain extent, but I think as you mentioned, we were talking about the O-line the other day, and you were like, "Hey, man, maybe it wasn't quite as good as you wanted it to be." But that's a championship level offensive line. That's what they did. Nobody else had done that. Yeah, the league's a little bit different than it used to be and all the things, but it just for all that we want to poke holes at, red zone, offensive line play, quarterback play calling, whatever. Top 10 offense, 40 points a game, league champ. Dealing with some, an injury at quarterback, multiple injuries at quarterback. It just like, but I'm interested in the simplified version of it because again, I think he can get away with it. That's what Will Hammond is different than any quarterback in the Big 12 right now. The one thing that Texas Tech can say about their quarterback, and nobody else can say this, not one single other team.
First, today's episode brought to you by The Game. And since 1986, The Game has been creating classic college hats that fans are proud to wear anywhere. Whether you're an alum, current student, season ticket holder, or simply someone who never misses a game, a great college hat is more than just apparel. It's a way to represent your school wherever you go. And this year, The Game is celebrating its 40th anniversary by giving fans a chance to save on some of their most iconic college lids. And if you've been thinking about replacing an old favorite or adding a new one to your collection, now is the perfect time. With hundreds of officially licensed college hats to choose from, you'll find the perfect fit for game day or any day. Don't miss this chance to celebrate 40 years of The Game with 40% off your entire order. Visit thegamecaps.com. That's thegamecaps.com and use our promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, locked on at checkout. That's thegamecaps.com and our promo code LOCKEDON, celebrating 40 years of The Game with 40% off. But don't wait around. This anniversary offer is not going to last forever. So go to thegamecaps.com and use our promo code LOCKEDON at checkout at thegamecaps.com.
The one thing that Texas Tech can say about their quarterback, and nobody else can say this, not one single other team, they are the one program where their quarterback doesn't have to be a dude. He doesn't. I'm not saying he won't be, and he won't show you flashes of that. Everybody else, for them to win the league, everybody else needs their quarterback to be the man. He's going to have to be a big reason why. Barrett Bachmeier, Noah Fafita, just start listing them off. Devin Dampier, Connor Wegman. Will Hammond doesn't have to do that, and you could still win the league. That's them's the facts. So, and that's a fun spot for the coordinator and the quarterback to be in.
And we know what type of potential he's got. So if he flashes here or there and looks like a dude, we won't be surprised. typically if you're seeing dude flashes, you're going to call local law enforcement. But in this case, you'll say Chris Level was right. Chris, could we get to, you want to talk simplification? Could it go this far? I'd like to turn to the brilliant mind of CJ Ayu.
So CJ Ayu, whenever everything was going on with Brendan, he sent me, Kenny, and Garrett a text, and he had an edit of our running back room, and it was like thunder, lightning, and bolt, and he said, sleep well tonight, boys. These three guys are on your team. The average Red Raider fan doesn't understand that y'all probably don't need to even throw the ball to win games, just because those guys are so special. Of course, it was a joke when it comes to that, but we're really fortunate. I mean, our running back room, there's very few in the country that can compare with those three. Just win, baby. Just run, baby. He says it's a joke, but there's a little truth in every joke, Chris. Do we even have to put it in the air?
One, I appreciate, and we all do and did, Coach Ayu, man. His presence still is felt around Lubbock, and I think his words or his thoughts or his just all of it means a bit more than other people in some ways, just because what he was about, and all that stuff. I mean, I even heard Will Hammond in a whole separate interview saying, "Yeah, Coach Ayu told me that if I attack rehab the way I've attacked everything," I mean, just like advice about his situation. I mean, and these are offensive guys, and like you're hearing Coach Ayu, this is the former outside linebackers coach that's now going to coach
I heard
for
that
the
from Hammond
Steelers
too. I was like,
yes, it just speaks to kind of who the guy was and how respected he was, and not to derail our conversation here, but like that's a lot to replace, like a presence like that. So, Coach Smith and Coach Alberry are now, and maybe somebody else on the staff kind of emerges. Anyway, that's a whole separate conversation. The point that Coach Ayu was originally making was just hand it to one of your guys, and you're very lucky to have them because nobody else does. I heard a separate show this morning, a national one, and they were talking about college running backs, and it was just kind of like a matter of fact that Texas Tech had a top 5 running back room in the country. And I haven't seen some suggest that, but those that would argue with it probably don't know about Quentin Joyner or haven't looked at it close enough. But ball knowers understand that you're flat loaded there, and then you hear them talk about Ace Rowden, and then you've got Sarad Baker committed to you. I mean, your running backs you're in a good spot, man. So, and I don't know when that will end or whatever, but I'm here and hope that they continue to get fed, and I'm here to witness them run the damn ball.
Me and you both. Say more, say less, whatever I'm supposed to say there. I agree. Retweet. I really feel like, Chris, from the physicality standpoint, we're going to be in for a different conversation this year. And again, I think that's what so many of us have on our minds, because we did feel like last year, and we talked about this a lot with the mob and our patio post-game party settings, just the fact that you didn't feel like you were really mauling or mashing, to get back to a word that you used this week. You didn't feel like you were ever really in road grader territory, even if you would be really productive with your rushing game statistically. And then you got to a point where you wondered if you could measure up physically on a national level, and you didn't feel like you did offensively when you left the Orange Bowl. So I think that all combines into what we're feeling this offseason, and in what ways we want to see the offense take steps forward. And I feel like, as a Tech fan, we can't just sit here anymore and say, as I'm very fond of, and used to be at least, I'll win every game 3-2. I don't care about the fireworks, style points. It ain't a beauty pageant. Whoops, it actually is now. First, today's episode brought to you by KALSHI. And before the season even kicks off, everybody's making predictions. Who's going to win the league? Who's going to make the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy when it's all said and done? And on KALSHI, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions and more in a live market. On KALSHI, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the points, trade the game, and more on KALSHI. This week, Texas Tech and their chances to go undefeated this season, trading at 32% to do so, meaning a $100 trade would pay out over $300 if they finish the season unbeaten. Download the KALSHI app and use our code LOCKEDON to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25 today. KALSHI. That's KALSHI. Trade on anything. 18 and above only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. KALSHI products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. They've turned it into a beauty pageant. And you live in a homely neighborhood, so they assume that you're homely as well. So you've got to come up with even more to show off to those who are reviewing the resume. So, Chris, I actually think offensively, a lot of this load falls on these shoulders on that side of the line of scrimmage to where it's, no, we need to not just win. We need you guys to really make it look good on the scoreboard as well. Doesn't that factor in?
Yeah, I think for most people, but here's why I'm going to say I think if you end up having to now, if you're talking seeding, yeah, I'm going to say yes, it factors in. If you're talking about making it in or not, if you're worried about your style points and if your resume looks better than somebody else's because of how bad you beat folks or whatever, if you're having to worry about that, you're probably in trouble. Because I just think that you're in a one-bid league. Until proven otherwise, you're in a one-bid league. You need to go win that game in Arlington. Now, if we want to get into the bye or do you get to host a playoff game and all that, then it absolutely matters, yes.
Didn't we get it thrown in our face last year? I seem to recall certain
little bit
critiques related to offensive statistical success from people in boardrooms, which is a great place to get that type of feedback. Did we win or lose the game, fella?
I know. I don't want to
re-jog that whole conversation, but you remember that, right? One week, for some reason, Tech singled out as needing to be more statistically offensively successful, and then in weeks to follow, we saw some major CFP prospects stubbing their offensive toe, still getting wins, and we didn't bring that up in their conversation.
It's all convenient. I'll just say this. Because again, it's we always hear body clock. We've heard, we've heard. Well, their third down, conversion percentage is a bit something we're kind of looking at. I mean, it's just like you pick the stat, and throw a dart at it and be like, that's what we're going to focus on this week. Did you beat who did you beat, or was it in a whatever? But and now we're going to go, well, potentially, are you going to suffer any consequences potentially from having a quarterback on your team that's won an injunction? You were willing to. I think you may be willing to roll that dice again, but yeah, was there any ramifications there for? Well, yeah, but they have there's a thing with one of the guys that are playing for them. I mean, we're not there yet.
You're talking about the standardized injunction deduction.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
so,
that in.
But yeah, that's the way I would phrase it. I think for seeding, for like hosting possibilities, definitely plays a part in where you're at. For getting in or not, if you're worried about that, I think you'd probably be in trouble. But
I'd like to be back in a seeding conversation, where I am thinking about where we're landing in the top
I would
4,
agree.
5, 6 landscape.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree.
And I would say up until last year when somebody finally broke through, you may say you want to hang back and not get that opening round bye, I guess. We did have somebody break through in a big way this last time around, but that has been a boneyard mostly for those who have been going through that route and quote-unquote earning that opening round bye. But hope we're in a spot just to think on such things when we are much further down the road. All right, Chris, appreciate the time to catch up on this. And one of the things that's going to be most enjoyable to watch this season, that Red Raider offense spurred on by those Red Raider running backs, and I'm sure more. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you for the next one.
Keep hope alive, people. We'll talk next time.
Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. And if you never miss an episode, you're what the Everydayer Club is built for. So get your everyday Locked On Texas Tech fix, ad-free, plus members-only network Discord access, and more. It's linked in our show notes, so start a free trial today. Also linked in those show notes, you're going to find a free 14-day trial to try on the Matador Mob. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. For those of you watching via video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. For those listening via podcast, we make sure you make your second listen, Locked On College Football. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.